Okay. So you should be good to go. Okay, so the first thing it says is have someone say a prayer. Does anyone want to pray?
I can
I
say
can
it.
do it for them.
Whoever wants to.
I'll say it.
Okay.
Yeah. Father in heaven, we bow before you this time. We're grateful for this day, and we're grateful for the many blessings that we have. We're grateful for the opportunity to further our education and to be able to come together as a group just already. We pray for thy spirit to be with us, that we can have a good discussion and that we can all have good takeaways from this lesson. In Jesus Christ, amen.
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 All right.
Is
Oh, okay.
anyone been able to make a scriptural reference to the they learned today?
No.
I'm sure we can find one.
I could probably make one up based on our case study.
Or anything on anyone's mind lately.
I can.
How do I get all this stuff done?
So, I tried to take a different take on this case study. Last 2 times ago, I was just thinking about, just numbers and stuff, taking emotion completely out of it. So I tried something different this time, and I only really tried. Well, not only, but I tried to bring more emotion into it. And this guy was clearly not enjoying this business, this entrepreneurial experience he was doing. And the whole time I was thinking, well, if he's not happy doing it, then it was a total failure, And so I was just thinking, if the point of our life here is to find happiness, and you're not happy, you're not doing it right. So I'll tell you right now, my evaluation was that it was a total failure because he wasn't happy doing it. So I believe that, after even looking at the numbers, I was like, you know what? It was a good thing he got out because he wasn't happy. And I'd rather do something that's a business that's a total failure, but at least I'm loving doing it.
You thought it was a failure, though?
What?
You thought it was a total failure on his part for this? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he was just hating it. Like I said, like right there at the beginning, like I'm so glad I didn't like this experience. So the whole time my evaluation was that it was a good thing that he sold the business.
Yeah. I agree about selling the business and the eval, but I kind of took a different approach looking at it, thinking, okay, if it wasn't happy and it wasn't giving him what he wanted, but did he learn anything from it? And I think the key part, if you don't learn from it, then he's going to make the same mistakes again, whether he's happy or not. And so if he has good takeaways and he learns from it and he got some good experience, but I don't think it's a total failure. I guess is where I'm coming from.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, you're totally right. I was just trying to think of a spiritual thought for it.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't a total failure because it was successful. But you know what? In the end, he was regretting the whole thing because he just wasn't happy. So, and he can obviously start another business and something else. And how many times are we taught do what makes us happy? And so, yeah, say things in Jesus Christ, amen.
All right, thank you.
No, sorry, I jumped the gun.
That's
No,
okay.
Okay. Quickly reconstruct the key elements of the cake financial business model.
Where are you reading?
Question 3. As a group to begin understanding and making crucial decisions to account for failure, begin your group discussion. Quickly reconstruct the key elements of the cake financial business model. So customer value proposition, go-to-market plan, technology and operation strategy, and cash flow formula.
Okay.
So that value proposition was that they were bringing something to market that allowed them to be better investors, right?
Yeah.
So customer value proposition, is that from a consumer point of view or an investor point of view?
I think it's kind of both, because I mean, in this case, the consumers are the investors.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the value proposition is for the consumer investors to basically have access to the data that the big boys have and to see actual portfolios and financial decisions that are making, how that's turning out for them.
Okay. Because I was thinking, like, I in that video, did you guys all watch the video in preparation for this?
Which one?
Where it talked about, like, just teachers preparing and students preparing.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people say that I put myself in the shoes of the protagonist, but I didn't. I put myself in the shoes of the customer the whole time. Totally wouldn't do this if I didn't understand. If like they put people in it and they compared it to Mint. Mint, like I use Mint. If none of you guys do, I recommend it. But Mint, it just makes it so like the interface is just like, oh, okay, that's where my money's going. Oh, okay, I get this. And there was no instruction. I didn't need any instructions. It was all right there.
It's super user friendly.
But it sounds like from Cake, like I would log on, I'm like, okay, I heard great things about Cake. And I'd go on, I'd look at it and think to myself, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think that's, if you don't understand where your money's going, it would be a lot harder to want to stick with it.
Mm-hmm. Although I saw the exhibits at the bottom, and it seemed pretty straightforward still. I mean, obviously you need something.
Yeah, but if you looked at their market too, like who they were trying to target, they were older people, like in their late 40s. And so some of those people may not be as great as like younger generations are on picking up things quickly.
As far as like, I guess what was the question on that one?
What was the what?
What was the question for that response?
Customer value.
Oh, gotcha. Like what is the value that the customer is finding in this case?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'm just thinking, like how would I value it as a customer, like using it?
Yeah, if it was super difficult, then I wouldn't. That's the issue I always run into with my investment stuff. Like, you know, it's like, how can I just like I don't want to think about it really. Like I don't want to be a day trader. I don't want to like actively like research all these companies. And I feel like in order to really get what I want out of my portfolio, that's actually what I have to do. It's like, I don't have time for that. So if something like this came along and said, hey, we're going to charge you XYZ and make it super, you know, invest in the things that other people do and that are, you know, you can see their track records and kind of see what they're looking at and get really good advice that way. What
was it you said about pricing or charging?
Like if someone told me they were going to charge me to get like...
I didn't fully understand that. Like, do they charge everyone or just the people who pay the premium?
It's just the premium people. I think the initial account is free, but they said if you wanted to see what like other people were doing and have those like additional features is when you start paying.
So it was like Dropbox that way.
Yeah.
Premium.
So it's like you could only, like, I know like one of the options is like they would show you some of the top investors and like who they were investing in and stuff like that. And that one you had to have like the paid account to see.
Okay.
Yeah, because it allows you to look and see if you want to, I mean, we'll see what Mark Zuckerberg's invested in, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's doing it. So you can kind of follow his model.
Right. makes it more valuable if you can kind of get a spread on what the big dogs are investing in. Mark Zuckerberg's investing in Facebook.
Well, yeah. I just brought his name up because he was on the Today Show.
Right.
Really? Yeah, I mean, like, people look at Mark Zuckerberg, they see what he invests in. Everyone invests in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's like everyone thinks if I'm doing something that someone who actually has a ton of money is doing, I'll have a ton of money too.
Yeah.
Like, they must know what they're doing.
That's theoretical. Like, if you were on the surface level, that's what you're doing. But like if you really think about it, like, he has a ton of money. If he loses $1 million or 2 million or 20,
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
What's it take?
right. So he can invest in things that might be a little bit outside of my personal comfort with risk.
Well, yeah, I lose $100 and I'm upset. So.
Right, exactly. It's like, that's not good.
Yeah. Okay, what do we think is their business model for the go-to market? Or an element of their business model? I think, well, it kind of went over with their like market, who they were trying to target, which I thought was helpful. It gave you like who the age ranges of who they thought would be using it. And so that kind of helps like with their market plan, is like knowing how to get a hold of those people if that's who's going to be using it.
Yeah.
I don't really understand. Like, like, these cases don't give you all the information. How exactly did they approach these people though and say, hey, we would like to have access to everything you have by sharing it with people who you have no connections with, but we'll give you some advertising room in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. From my understanding, when he got his, like, I think it was, what do they call that? The second round of venture capital.
The venture capitalists. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Round or whatever. He started strategically hiring some people that he felt would have some good connections, both like in the industry and in those types of markets.
Oh, that's right. His first hire, he was like with E-Trade and stuff, wasn't he?
First hire was Doug Reed through LinkedIn and gave him the title of Chief Architect and Technical Co-Founder. He said he'd been a senior engineer into it.
Yeah.
So into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, they're a fairly small company, you know.
Intuit is Mint, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because my app that I have for Mint on here, it's Intuit.
Oh yeah, they probably bought it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. So does Intuit own Mint or Mint own Intuit?
Intuit owns Mint.
Okay.
Intuit owns like Quicken, QuickBooks.
Yep, that's mentioned here.
TurboTax.
Oh, yeah. I knew about QuickBooks, yeah.
Yeah. So Intuit owns like that whole portfolio of financial products, basically.
Okay. Technology and operations strategy.
Yeah.
I don't understand
Well,
how any of that coding works.
I mean, the technology I felt was there. They understood what they needed to do. And it seemed like they did pretty good at actually building the website itself and stuff like that. I mean, they didn't do a great job of making it user-friendly, which seemed to be the biggest pitfall.
Well, I don't think they
technology-wise.
I don't think they updated their software enough, because compared to their competitor, they did it on a weekly basis, and Cake Financial was doing it on like a monthly basis, which meant it wasn't up to date. They spent a lot of time and money on it, so I'm not sure why it didn't work as well. But I thought they should have checked it on a weekly basis and try to get more customer feedback on what they could improve.
Yeah, I also thought it was interesting that they were saying they only had it for 12 different like investing firms, and by the end of their goal was to try to make it like 20 and stuff like that. But I feel like they should have had more to begin with, just so more people could have used it.
I feel like I'm wanting to jump ahead though. I'll save my remark for then. So technology. I feel like Facebook is really what made technology. They are an internet-wide influence. That YouTube and Google,
yeah. And he mentioned that too, that he wanted to kind of use the social media platform to help him promote what he was doing.
Yeah, so I think social media really wasn't a evolved concept to people until Facebook started getting in and making their updates.
And it kind of sounds like
I think using social media was kind of a bad approach for this company, just because nobody really searches investments on Facebook. Nobody wants to read about it on Facebook. You're like scrolling posts, you're like, oh, investments, okay. I don't know.
I also think it just didn't even match, like, at the time who they were trying to get to use it. Like Facebook, when it was mostly younger people at first. I didn't feel like you had a lot of like 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds on Facebook when it first started.
So if you look at like social media, right? I think I mentioned this. So they started with like Friendster, which kind of introduced the concept of basically connecting different groups. So Friendster was invite only. You couldn't see like anyone or search anyone. You have to like get an invite specifically. You could only see like friends of friends of friends, so like 3 tiers basically. And then they started having their issues and went crazy. And then MySpace kicked in, so they kind of, you could do all the things you couldn't do on Friendster, which is like modify your profile and add music and back. And then Facebook came in, and Facebook's interface looked basically really like a lot like Friendster's, but they kind of integrated. I don't know if you guys remember, like Facebook started as just an on-campus kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like literally colleges.
Because 2008 is when it really started becoming popular, right?
Yeah,
I got mine.
Opened up an account in 2007.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you're right on. Yeah, I think right around that time frame.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a college. I mean, it was a college student invite only thing at the beginning, which was good. But the demographic that he's talking about, I mean, if you think about the demographic and age, like, I'm 30, right? I don't have a whole crap ton of money to just like invest in a whole bunch of different things. I mean, I have some money obviously, but that's been built up over, the last 10 years or so in a 401k or, an IRA or whatever. The demographic that he's really going for here are people with more money. So typically those people are going to be a little bit older. He mentioned specifically like 40-year-olds, and that his particular demographic didn't want to share their investment information.
Right, they're just not social. They're not into the same.
I think it was more like protecting their own investments too. Like they didn't want to share it because, well, if I do this, then the cost of this will go up, or, they didn't actually want, they're kind of like jealous about their investment. They didn't want to share that information with other people. So the social aspect of it, where you could like share that stuff, it's like, no, they didn't want to share it. And again, that might be an age group thing, it might be a money thing, I don't know really, but that would be one of those things that would have been really good to know before.
Yeah, I feel like they just didn't do a very good job of like understanding like beforehand what their demographic would want. Like they didn't really think of like the wants of who was going to be using it, because I feel like later they talked about like number 3, they kind of got rid of the social aspect of it. And so, but things like that, they just didn't really pay attention as much to what people would want.
Yeah. Okay, we're on to cash flow formula.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how they only teach you they tell you to read the first and the end section before you even get to step 5. The whole time I was just saying, okay, they are doing a lot of venture capital, and that's it. Where are they making their money? And so I didn't realize until reading all the background and stuff. But it was so nonchalant how they said that they were making money. Like, oh, we're not making money fast enough. We're only charging people premiums, and we're getting some advertisers and all this stuff. But then, did you guys actually look at the gross margin that they're doing?
Yeah.
It looked good to me. Like, holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, you have your first year at 10%, but after that, I mean, everything's above 40%. That's a great. I mean, that margin I thought was good. 40% gross margin.
Yeah, and it goes up from there. Then you have 53 and 61.
I mean, just look at the advertising and sponsorships. By 2010, they're at over 35 million. So, crazy.
Going back to it now.
So, in this case, from what I understood of it, the real issue was that they never actually hit scale, right? They never got that market saturation that they needed to in order to get like a bunch of big companies on board and people that were sharing investment advice and stuff. I mean, at least that's how I understood it.
Yeah, it seemed like the real problem was like people were just like questioning it, and it, like he mentioned it several times, it just wasn't like a first priority for these big firms and stuff. They're like, yeah, if we get to it, we'll do it. But since that's like how he like his website worked, he relies on those. It just wasn't working.
Right.
Yep.
Really, he just had his whole business depended on those large companies sharing their data with him, and at the end of the day, he didn't have enough demand really to force them to do it. It was kind of what they wanted.
The value that he tried to get with those big companies, they just didn't buy into it, and that forced his hand.
I'm just looking at the gross margin is good. Did he does it talk about their actual cash flow at all or no?
I didn't think so. It talks about revenue and stuff like that, but you don't actually see profit.
Well,
I don't think.
I see cost of goods sold. I see where the money's going. Advertising, premium services, bounty payment. I don't know what bounty payments are. Maybe this is a really shady business.
I wonder if bounty payments though are like if you have leads, then you would get part of the money.
Gotcha. And funds expenses.
Like a finder's fee.
Yeah, like if you find us some leads, we'll give you money in exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked how the premium service revenue continued to grow. I mean, that was a good bump that they were able to show that they could get people to buy into the premium service. You can see that year over year that continued to grow.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. It's like when you look at the financials, it looks like he was fairly successful, but just not in the things that he needed to be to like continue success by himself. He really needed to integrate with some other type of platform, which obviously in the end he actually did by selling E-Trade. But
I think that's what led to him selling to E-Trade, is it allowed that portion to get into a bigger market and to be with a little bit of the big boys and get a little bit more name recognition, I guess.
Okay.
yeah. Because stuff like this is cool, but like I don't know, it's hard to do when it's just standalone. Like when it's by itself, if it doesn't have any friends to play with, like you have to go to this one place to get all your stuff.
Yeah.
You could actually invest on this platform, right? Like you could trade stocks, right?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, it gave you the advice and it linked to your bank account and everything like that. So it seemed like you could do the actual like buying and selling.
It pulled all your portfolio data.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it integrated all of your portfolios from different places into one place where you could see it all. But that was probably one of the issues too. You couldn't actually. I don't remember. I don't think you could trade on the platform, or could you?
It just gave advice then.
Anyone remember? I don't.
Well, if you scroll down, hang on. I'm looking at it. Hey, what was the question again?
Can you actually like buy on there or trade on there?
Or is it just an aggregator so you could see what your portfolios had and view?
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this portfolio now.
I think I'm pretty sure you can, because I'm on the bottom of page 2. That was part of his idea, to create a portfolio management service that could buy and sell stocks and mutual funds based on top performing Cake users. So I think you can. I'm not sure if he incorporated it into his program itself, but I think he did.
Yeah, because I think that was one of the big. Because it shows you all your stuff, but I don't see where you can actually use his service to actually invest. It's more of like a research tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says so members can link their Cake account to where'd it go? Members can open an account with Cake in minutes because there is no transfer of money or change in existing brokerage relationships to get started. Instead, members can link their Cake accounts to an unlimited number of existing portfolios from leading online brokerage firms. This allows Cake up to 10 years of historical activity as well as current portfolio holdings, trading activity. So basically, it looks like it's helping them make decisions, and they stay with their brokerage firms to make the trades.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can definitely see why he would want to sell to someone that could offer more like a vertically integrated solution where you can not only look at data, but you can also sell it and buy and sell.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we're on cash flow formula, huh? Sorry, way off topic.
Wrap that up.
Okay, so are we moving on to step 4 now?
Yeah, we could.
Okay, who says that Cake was doomed from the beginning?
Just you.
I think he was. Borrowed way too much money.
That's true.
Who
He
else
did
does?
borrow a
It's
lot.
not clear to me.
He did.
It's not
That's
clear.
like, you're not doing anything. You should probably stop.
This is just me?
No, I think.
Okay, who thinks that Cake was not doomed?
I think they have the potential to do really well. Like they gave the example of PayPal. PayPal borrowed a lot of money, but in the end, they're super successful. Like the idea was good. I think in the beginning too, he just borrowed some money, but he just kept borrowing, and that was the problem. And then he just wasn't like, I don't know, he just wasn't listening to like what his customers really wanted in order to like keep it updated and see what they actually would use it for. So it was a good idea, I thought. I just didn't think he handled it well.
I think it was a promising business. It just it wasn't executed the way that he probably wanted it to. And they seemed to throw more money into it than they needed to.
It mentions specifically, so my answer is no, I don't think it was doomed right from the beginning.
Okay.
He could have used his money more wisely and done a lot more demographic research at the beginning. The case mentions that specifically, like he would have, learned these things about his customers, he could have done things very much differently than what he did, and not spent so much money. And I think one of the big things was that he spent a lot of money on the backbone and the infrastructure, so this thing would scale, which is great because the back end stuff works, and it can pull all the data and do all that stuff. But if the front end isn't user friendly, like we're talking about, that was the whole point of this.
Yeah.
Like the whole point was to be super user friendly, make it easy for people to understand, see what the big boys are doing with their investments and how much money they're making, so that you can look at your portfolio the same way they do, and you can share it with your friends, and you can all make a lot of money theoretically, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because he kind of flopped on the front part, he didn't do enough research to figure out how to make it simple and who was actually using it. I mean, if you would have marketed it differently, maybe, or I don't know. I don't think it was a good idea. I still think it's a good idea. And even like now, when I log into like I have a TD Ameritrade account. A lot of the stuff that you're talking about, like, obviously it's just from my accounts or whatever, but I can see, 10-year trends on the stock and, what dividends are paying, and it allows me to do research on there and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah.
So the concepts that he had were good. It just, the execution and the front end of it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Good points.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So on to the next one.
Yeah.
We want a counter argument.
So
Counter argument.
okay. So I think this is my only argument.
Okay.
I only have one.
I'm ready.
The world wasn't ready for it yet.
That could be very correct. But again, like we were talking about.
I agree with you.
It seemed like
It
people
was really
wanted
good
it.
concept.
It just was hard to use because when he put it out there, a lot of people came to the site. They just didn't know how to use it, so they left.
I think if he would have made it in 2010, Facebook would have been popular for 2 years, 2.5 years-ish. And then there would have been more people with more, he would have made better hires for people who are more like social networking, user-friendly, experienced creators. And then everyone would be like, hey, social networking is cool now. Now we can make money off of it. Let's do it.
So you're saying timing just wasn't right?
Exactly.
Yeah, time
I won't disagree
means
with that.
everything.
Also,
How would you
at the end,
well, no.
my alternative, I'll tell you that right now because it's a pertinent. Sold it to John Osher because this is about the same time that he sold his toothbrushes.
Sure.
New startup business for him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like one of those things. Like, how do you know though when you're introducing something new to the market? I know I'm going back to this, but it's like I said, it's like Friendster. They had basically Facebook took what Friendster had initiated. Everyone jumped on, but Friendster just couldn't keep up with the demand. They couldn't keep up with the server side. Yeah. MySpace kind of improved on. They went another direction, and then Facebook, took the idea, scaled it slower so they could build infrastructure. And but again, it's exactly the same concept, pretty much. Even the interface looks similar. It just was, when you're ready and how you do it. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
So I agree, but I disagree. It could have been really, really big. He wasn't doing anything. He had a chance, but he executed it not perfectly. So
yeah,
it went boom. He could have done it though.
He could have.
Could have, should have, would have, but did. Yeah.
If he just gave it to John Osher, he would have fixed it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next.
Okay. Discuss Steven's approach to the opportunity. We did that. Tried to understand what, if anything, Steven could have done differently. Okay.
Oops.
They've
I
produced
think
better
we all
outcomes.
agree that the like front end of the company needed work. Like that's where he lost so many people. They came and they all left because they didn't understand it. Like it wasn't user friendly.
Yeah.
And that's where you, Connor, you said you like Mint a lot.
Mhm.
Because like you basically just say, hey, link to my accounts, and okay, this amount went to food, this amount went to gasoline, this amount went to rent, and you don't really
Before
have
college,
much.
80% of my money went towards gas.
80% of your money's gas. Yeah, must be nice.
I know, I was like, hey.
You either
Before
drive
college, yeah.
or
Well, between me, my brother, my dad, and my mom, we have 10 BMWs.
It's a lot of gas.
you guys
I was
race
gonna
cars
make a
or
gas
something?
joke. What?
You guys race cars or something?
We have one car that we want to race, but we need an engine and stuff for it still. But we've restored them. My dad, brother, and I, our first 3 BMWs for all of them together. So we just restore them.
Gotcha.
That's cool.
But yeah, we drive a lot.
4 or 5
Sorry.
late
So
night.
did we answer 5's question then? Sorry, I got another meeting, so I got to push along a little bit.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Did we answer 5? We talked about things that he could have done different. Is there other things you have seen?
Yeah, pretty much. In retrospect, I'm not sure the early focus groups were very helpful. They weren't because they needed a model.
Yeah, they didn't have anything to show them, did they?
Mm-mm.
No, they just went in and focus grouped it, and then they didn't even have like a wireframe at the beginning.
They're like, yeah, yes, it's a good idea. Thank you. We already know that. You guys think about this product, though. Okay. On page 10, there is no way we could have learned this up front through interviews or focus groups. There were a lot of precedents pointing to a strong social component, including investment clubs and active communities on site. What did it say on page 10? No.
There's lots of social aspects for investment clubs, active communities on sites like Raging Bull. But those are like, I don't know, like clubs and forums and stuff. They weren't.
Yeah, I feel like that's different because I feel like in those places you're not actually sharing the exact things you're investing in and like how much, like you wouldn't share that much. It seems like you would get ideas maybe, but
I don't know. Let's look at Raging Bull. I don't even know what that is.
Actions.
Club. Real experts, real trades, real profits. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, right there. About and social networking features. See, not popular yet.
There you go.
Cool.
Fine.
Cool kids don't network.
All right.
Okay, next one.
okay. As a group, you can come up. Can you come up with a list of ways Steven's approach is different from Run the Runway, Dropbox, and Mint? How do you know which assumption to test first? Was building the data layer first the right approach? Which would you have done first, or what would you have done first? I think they all relied on venture capitalists, which
Yes.
If they did, so Run the Runway did basically like a small group, like a small invite group. Dropbox had a small group until they opened it from like public beta to like a real platform. Mint, I don't really know a lot about Mint, so I don't really know how.
I think it started off kind of small. Like I remember a while ago it came out and it was pretty small, but they relied on social media too to try to get people to come to their website.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the difference between his is that all of those kind of like started really small and added things in based on what their user base needed and wanted. Like the Dropbox case, you know, they started out just offering like the freemium, but then like the decision was, how do we scale to get more business customers? Whereas his whole thing, he went in all the way, like, yeah, there's free, but he had the whole design like already planned out and everything, but he didn't actually run it at the beginning with people just trying it out, like on a small scale. He just kind of, they went in and they developed that back end as fast as they could do it, and they did it, and they did it, and they did it, and then finally they get to the point where they realize, well, we've made this awesome back end, but we just don't have the user base we want to make this really.
Yeah.
That's what's different to me.
Yeah.
Really,
I felt like the other people also struggled getting it out. Like they had an idea, but the website itself, they struggled with a little bit getting out and getting it big enough.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think Steve has to go here, like probably now, right?
I'm sorry, what?
I said I think
We have
Steve
one more quick question.
now. So
As a group, identify the main reason for Cake's failure. You probably named it the wrong thing.
okay. So
Did you say you did like it?
I like cake. Yeah, it's, you know, sounds.
I think it's fine. It makes it seem like, oh, it's a piece of cake. Like it's easy.
I had a different mindset when I started reading. I was like, oh, that's what it is. It just, I mean, it could have been fine, but I mean, the name did seem a little weird to me, but I think
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna say we pointed out that he kept borrowing money and getting, trying to get that money to continue to grow, and I think that was part of the failure too, is that he relied too heavily on that and didn't get his business model in place to actually start the revenue process for him.
Yeah.
I think he's just too confident in the beginning. He didn't bother testing his product completely. Plus, I think he should have focused on like smaller businesses first so that he could actually test the product, because his focus group didn't really last that long. So you can't really understand how to use something if you don't have enough time. So I thought he done better on that.
And he didn't really take the suggestions of the focus groups, right? I mean,
Yeah. I think he kind of.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's kind of seemed like he had them give him opinions, but he's like more like trying to prove why his design was still good instead of like really listening to them.
Yeah, that's a hard thing when you're like really set on a particular idea. Like you have this, this glorious vision in your brain, and when it's not, I'm sure it felt somewhat successful to him because he probably still got users and obviously he was making money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it wasn't ever going to be like this huge thing because he failed to do the basic research up front to really test it.
Well, I think part of the reason why he kept borrowing is because I felt like he didn't want to fail, because this is his first business.
Right.
And like everyone wants to be successful. So I thought maybe he could have partnered with somebody who had more experience, opposed to just relying on just going in, figuring out what to do for the first time. So
Yeah. I don't think like the failure was beyond his control. I think he contributed to some of the failure. But
Sure.
okay, what low-cost experiment could Stephen have done to test the assumptions behind the main reason for failure?
Wireframe mock-up of his website.
Yeah.
I mean, how does this thing actually work? Can people get on there and just start using it right now, or do they actually have to go through, a pretty steep learning curve, and then
Yeah.
he failed that part miserably. They built up the back end, like, it was very robust, got all the stuff right, but they neglected even. I don't even think they asked people about the front end. Like, I don't remember.
I don't think they did. I think they just were like surprised that so many people had difficulty with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting because like in all our classes, like I take different classes. Like I've done like a web business creation, and I've done like graphic design stuff where you build the wireframes and everything like that. They put a huge emphasis on like getting feedback, making sure it's easy and it's understandable for people. Like they want to make sure that their website is easy to understand.
Right.
So
Just think about the last question. They could have, like all these other ones making it open to small groups. They could have said, we're just going to open this up to you and all your employees for now. Like all their
and then
partners.
give us feedback. Yeah.
And then say, hey, what would you like us to change after that?
Yeah, that could have been interesting.
They'll model. Yeah. It's testing and good point.
Sweet.
All right, so
Okay.
Summary.
Cool.
Yep.
Summary. What's our time frame? What's our time right now?
I don't know. It doesn't actually give me a time, so I just have to go back and
Okay.
find the starting point. Yeah.
Oh, you have to go back and
We're close to an hour.
Okay. So, analysis is hard to give a summary because it's not like there's like a final this is the decision they should make. It's like, okay, so based on everything we know, the analysis is that he introduced it at the incorrect time, that he didn't try a small group at the beginning and test it thoroughly and get feedback, make the appropriate changes and tweaks. 3, he didn't really look at his demographic carefully, because the people that were actually investing or using his services really didn't want to share. So the social media aspect was a bust. And again, they didn't want to share their investment stuff with other people for whatever unknown reason. They're just not.
Did you already say user friendly?
Yeah, it just wasn't that user friendly.
Okay.
So there you go. It wasn't user friendly at all because he didn't ask anyone's opinion really. He just did it, and so that's our analysis. Those are the things he could have done better.
Okay, was it a good business though?
I think the idea was great. In theory, it was good. I think the way he executed it was he could have done better.
Okay.
Could
have done better. That should be our tagline.
He's learning from it, and then next time, hopefully, his startup will be better. It'll rely more on what people actually want and their opinions and how the front end of the website looks and stuff like that.
He wanted so badly not to fail, but he wasn't willing to modify his position on how things were to adapt to what people actually wanted.
Yeah.
I think in his brain it would have been like a failure if he would have changed it to be something other than what he started.
Or something simpler, because he's like, this is a grand idea. It's new and it's revolutionary, and it people just didn't see it that way.
Yeah, except nobody wanted that.
Yeah.
Not nobody. There were some very people that liked it a lot.
Some people did, but yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I will send you guys this link.
Cool.
All right, cool. If you want to go off live, I have some questions